guys, it's Jen again. Today I want to talk about something a little bit different than what I usually talk about in my videos. Today I want to talk about curing type 2 diabetes, how to stay asleep or get back to sleep if you have a problem sleeping through the night, which is really the main topic of the video. A little bit about diet and fasting and how these things are all tied into one another. So what I've learned in life is that a lot of things come down to just habits. It's how we think about things and how we see things and how those thoughts about things release the chemicals in our body, which then have our body respond in certain ways. So if you are thinking about something and you get stressed out, your body starts responding to those stress hormones that are released from the thoughts that you have. So what we have to do is try to think differently, think different thoughts, and control our thoughts. And that's something that I've been working on for a lot of years, and I think I've gotten pretty good at it, and it's not as hard as people think it is. Controlling your thoughts can be hard at first, but then after you do it and you get good at it, then those thoughts just really don't enter your mind. And it could be anything. It could be something from, telling yourself, well, I'm hungry, even though you're not, or I'm bored, even though you have plenty to do, or some next level stuff like, I'm so unhappy, or I don't like that person, or I don't like this, or things like that. You can just change those just by not thinking about them. And some things we need to think about, even if they're things we don't want to think about, but things that keep us up all night really don't do us any good. So we have to learn to control those and keep them under control so that we can respond to life's problems appropriately and get enough sleep. So one of the things that I did was I learned this technique through some hypnosis classes that I took, and I became a certified hypnotist, which was really just a fun thing that I really enjoyed doing. For example, I learned when and how people can put themselves into a trance, and how you can talk to people in a certain way that puts them into a trance. And it really just involves talking to them in the same way that they talk to you, and giving them sort of a safe place to do it in. And if you want to read an interesting book on that, there's one that I found on Amazon called Uncommon Therapy. I would show it to you, but it's packed away in a box, and I don't actually remember the author of it, but it's called Uncommon Therapy, and you'll find it on Amazon if you want to read it. It's really interesting. It's a really good book. So, really, a lot of things in life have to do with forming good habits, okay? So you form these good habits, and life seems to run a lot smoother for you, okay? So when I was about 30 to 35 or so, and I had bad eating habits, I found myself having difficulty staying asleep. So I would go to work tired because I had been up since 3 o'clock in the morning, or I would just by 1 or 2 o'clock my eyes were turning red and watery and stuff, and my husband would look at me and say, wow, why are you so tired? Well, it's because I woke up at midnight and I fell back to sleep, and I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I fell back to sleep, and I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning and then I couldn't get back to sleep, and I've been up since such and such time. And so I had to find a way to control that, and one of the ways I controlled that was through my diet, because I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and so I had to learn to form better eating habits and exercising habits. And I did that just by not thinking of the alternative, okay? So an alternative would be sitting at home on the couch and staying just at home laying around in bed. And I told myself it wasn't an option, and going out and eating junk, and I told myself it wasn't an option. So forming these good habits required me to think in a better way and refuse to allow myself to think in the worst way, or the way that got me there in the first place. I started doing a ketogenic diet, and it really wasn't enough for me. I guess because I was already so to the point where I was already sick with the diabetes, and so it took more than just the ketogenic diet. And I did exercise a lot. I jogged sometimes 12 miles a day with my stepson, and I pushed a stroller, and my daughter, we'd run and we'd go outside and jog 12 miles. It was sometimes on a Sunday I would take the day off. And then I would on like Tuesdays and Thursdays go to the gym and do kickboxing, and then after kickboxing I'd go to the other gym and I would lift weights, and it was really, really difficult to get things under control that way. And when you have to work so hard, you're basically setting yourself up for failure. So then I started doing more of a carnivore diet. And I did the carnivore diet, and that has helped me immensely. I cut out a lot of snacking, even the keto snacks, the keto bread, the keto ice cream, the sugar-free candies. I cut a lot of that out. I still like to have some, okay? Cut a lot of that out though. And then I added in fasting, and I added in longer periods of fasting. I did a fast one time. I was running a restaurant, so it wasn't really hard because I was at the restaurant all day long. And my one day off when I wasn't running the restaurant, I was going and picking up food and running errands and trying to get other things done. And so I would be at the restaurant and it was barbecue, and I got so sick of barbecue, so fasting for a week actually wasn't that difficult for me. It's harder at home where I have the food that I like to eat to do a fast. But I've changed up from fasting for long periods to fasting for shorter periods of time, which are anywhere from 16 to 20 hours a day. And then every once in a while, I just say to myself, okay, I kind of don't feel like fasting all day or most of the day. I'm just going to eat today. And I don't eat whatever I want. I still eat ketogenic diet. Maybe I'll have some more snacks because I don't eat a lot all at once. But I will take time off sometimes from the fasting to just eat keto foods, whatever keto foods I want. I don't eat sugar though anymore, or pasta, because when I eat it, I feel like I've snorted a pound of cocaine or something, and I'm thinking I'm going to have a heart attack and die. So I don't do that anymore. I did that once. I ate a piece of cheesecake from Cheesecake Factory, and whoo, that was a big mistake after doing keto for so many years. So I do basically a carnivore diet with a little bit of sugar-free candies or whatever. I do fasting from 16 to 20 hours. Just sort of depends on how it goes. If I ate less the day before, maybe I'll not fast as long the next day. If I ate a little bit more, maybe I can fast longer. It's sort of just how I feel, you know, and it's a feeling not really of being hungry, but a feeling of being having low blood sugar, maybe like my blood sugar is just getting a little too low, feeling a little fatigued and stuff. I added into my diet 4 capsules of sea salt, and I don't take them every day. I just take them whenever I start feeling like I'm tired or exhausted or whatever. I'll take those. So I'll take like 4 of them. You don't have to take 4 of them. I'm not suggesting anybody do anything that they're unsure of or uncomfortable with, but this is just what I do. I also added magnesium citrate, which helps. So that's my diet. And I stop caffeine usually around 11 or 12. Sometimes I'll have a little bit more, usually not. I have a couple cups in the morning, and that's usually it for me on the caffeine. And then I just have the small meals during my non-fasting window. And then I originally started fasting at 6 in the evening, and then by bedtime I would be tired and ready to go to bed because my blood sugars are slowly dropping. The chemical in the brain that helps you relax and go to sleep is slowly dropping. And that seemed like it was working. And then there was about a week where I decided I was going to fast for a longer period of time, which meant that I had to back my time up from 6 to 4. And I noticed that when I did that, I actually slept a whole lot better. And I sleep better when that day or the day before have taken the salt. Okay, so also I add some electrolyte powder, non-sugar electrolyte powder, in some water and a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and that helps me a lot. It helps with my pH, blood levels, and it helps with creating a calorie deficit so that you get more out of your fast. And it's suggested by or recommended by or talked about by Dr. Berg, who is on YouTube also. You can find his videos. And there's a lot of doctors out there. Dr. Berg is really good. He suggests you eat vegetables. I don't eat a lot of vegetables. They just don't work well with my stomach. So I go with Dr. Berry, who suggests a more carnivore diet. So as I do more carnivore and fasting, I notice that once in a while I can eat a little bit more of other things, still keto, and still get my good sleep in. So there was also something else that I did, not to necessarily get better sleep, but to be able to get back to sleep, because I had a really hard time getting back to sleep once I woke up at night. And so I studied hypnosis, and I really enjoyed it. I found out a lot about how the brain works. That's where I realized about how important habits are, not just in what you do, but what you think. And it's to me phenomenal. The things that you think that are either untrue, unnecessary, or destructive. And once you can start learning to control those things, at first it's hard, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. And the easier it gets, the happier you are faster, and the more you start to realize, hey, I can change this about myself, and I can change that about myself, and it's not that hard. I just have to redo my thinking, okay? Or just have a different process in thinking and what I allow myself to think. So one of the things I did to get back to sleep are these 5 things, and they're really easy. So when I would wake up at night, what I did was have a place that I created, and it's a totally fictional place. It, as far as I know, doesn't exist anywhere on Earth or any other planet, and if it does, it's a coincidence. So what I did was I just created a place that I really liked being at, that was just me, and some place that was quiet, and I could be alone, and I could, not think about anything. I could be just in nature, which I really like. And so my place has to do with just a lake and some sort of mountains around the lake, and the sun was always just about to go down, because as the sun goes down, your chemicals in your brain rise because the blue light's going down and your chemicals rise, and so it allows you to relax. So my place is a lake with mountains, the sun's going down, there's a cabin there in case I feel like I need to be someplace more safe. I can go to the cabin where I can still look out and see the lake, and I can lay in a hammock inside the cabin and just swing back and forth. And that's another thing you can imagine, just swinging on a swing like when you were a kid and just relaxing, and the shade and the sun changing, contrasting while you're swinging, and I find it very relaxing. So that's one of the things that you can do. You can create a place like I did, just whatever you're comfortable with. You can have your favorite blanket there, you can have your favorite drink there, you can just, put your feet up and have music going if you want, whatever it is, maybe out on a boat somewhere, maybe on another planet. It's just whatever you feel like relaxes you. And if you try it and then you think it's not really working for me, try something else. Make a new place for yourself. So the second thing that I do when I'm there is I look down at my feet, and when I see the lake water hitting my feet, my bare feet, I know it's time to breathe. And so this is a process for me. I'm at the lake, the water's coming up, it's lapping, I can hear it, and it's touching my toes on my feet, and I look down and I see my feet, and whenever I'm here, and I tell myself, whenever I'm here, I know it's time to breathe. So then I start breathing, and you just talk to yourself, you just tell yourself, you just walk yourself through it. I'm at my place, and I'm looking down at my feet, and the water's touching my feet, and it's time to breathe, and then you start to breathe, and you tell yourself, this is what I'm going to do. Whenever I'm here, and this happens, it's time for me to breathe. And I don't have, you tell yourself, I don't have to think about it. I know that this is what I'm supposed to do. And I don't have to tell myself that when I look at my feet, it's time to breathe. It will happen, end quote. Okay, so you're telling yourself this so that anytime you imagine yourself in this place, always in your place, and you look down at your feet, it's time to breathe. And breathing should be not work. It should be just relaxed. It should come naturally. It should be something that you do, but it should also be a little bit of a conscious effort to just take a deep breath and relax and let it all just flow out the way it wants to flow out, at the speed it wants to flow out. You shouldn't be pushing it. It shouldn't be a labored thing. It should be very relaxing, and it should be comfortable. It should be something that is enjoyable. Okay, so the next thing I do is to tell myself to relax, and some people have a really hard time relaxing, and that's okay because you can just pretend. That's something that the hypnosis teacher taught us. You can just pretend to relax. So you tell I start at my scalp, and I say, okay, scalp, just relax, muscles, face muscles, relax, and it's always in here and in here, and you just tell yourself to relax your forehead, relax your eyes, relax your jaw, relax your neck, and here your shoulders, and you just work your way down. Okay, and usually sometimes when I start to breathe, I'm already falling asleep and I don't remember anything after that. Sometimes I start at the head and I get to the neck and then I'm already out. Now at first, I had to go through this over and over and over and over again to form the habit, okay? And that will probably happen with you. You have to form this habit so that your brain knows eventually when you get to this place, it's time to go to sleep, and you're going to breathe and you're going to relax and you're going to engage your senses, and it already knows, oh, it's time to go to sleep. It's sort of like, it's kind of a funny comparison, but like your animal part of your brain where you tell your dog to sit and they just sit. They don't know why, they just do it. It's sort of like that. You're telling yourself, sleep. Okay, so when you start doing this, it's time to sleep, and your animal brain knows this. So the other thing you can do is try to engage your senses. So engaging your senses helps your mind stay occupied on something that is not the thing that's probably woken you up or keeping your mind so busy, right? So engaging your senses means, like for me, if I'm at the lake, I can smell the lake water, I can smell the pine trees, I can smell the dirt, I can hear squirrels running through the trees, things falling on the ground, birds, the water lapping up on the shore. I can feel those things, I can see those things, I can smell those things. Sometimes I'll imagine the wind is blowing, and it's blowing my hair, and it's blowing across my face, and I can feel it on my legs, and it's blowing slightly, just slightly, not enough to jar you awake, but slightly blowing on your clothes. You feel the water on your feet. You're seeing the clouds move across the sky, and the sun setting finally below the horizon. And you're just occupying your mind with something more beautiful than whatever it is that's keeping you awake at night. Okay, so you can imagine yourself walking up to a place, or walking down to a place, or rowing in a boat, or sitting next to the beach drinking a drink. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's a place that you like. Okay, and you have to I eliminate all people out of my place. I'm the only one there. So if you want to see people walking by because that makes you happy, then go for it. Now, when I started doing this, I just had to sort of eventually like walk around and get in a boat and row the boat out to the lake, because it took a while for my animal brain to realize what sit meant, or sleep, okay? So like when you're teaching your dog to sit, you have to show it over and over and over and over again, but eventually when you say sit, the dog sits. So when you say sleep, the dog sleeps, your animal brain sleeps, okay? So it does take a while to teach yourself how to do this, but doing it has helped me a lot, and I've formed a habit now. I get to my place, I start breathing, and usually I'm out. I take my salt, my magnesium citrate, I eat my keto diet, I do my fasting, and I still wake up at night because I have to go to the restroom or there's a noise or whatever, but I don't have a problem getting back to sleep now. So no more coffee at 3 o'clock in the morning and then having to take a nap at noon, because this has worked for me. It's worked for me for years now. So if you want to try this and you're kind of not sure, you have some questions, post some questions in the comments. If you do it and it works for you, then let me know. I'd love to hear some feedback on this. Like, share, subscribe, share with your friends. Maybe you have a friend who's having a hard time sleeping, and maybe they'll check out some of my other videos. So here you have it, and I hope you all have a great day and happy sleeping.